Hello and welcome. My name is Katie Bowen. I'm a professional coach and I'm here this evening to help you understand your fears. So what we're going to look at this evening is the critical concepts for understanding fear, and then we're going to move into how we can help you deal with it on a day-to-day basis. So there are two different kinds of fear that are really explained well in the Old Testament terms. The ancient Hebrew words for fear were pashad and yira. You don't need to remember those, it's just to make the distinction between the two kinds of fear. Pasha is the fear of projected or imagining things. So this is our old part of our brain, the lizard brain, where the fear that is attempting to protect us from any potential perceived danger. So it's very prehistoric in the old times when it was perhaps protecting us from big lions or animals. And in this day and age, it's very overreactive and irrational. It tends to be focused on possible future outcomes or consequences. So it's very reliant on our imagination. And then we have Yira, which often arises when we take or contemplate taking bigger steps. That's really when we're stepping out of our comfort zone, the steps that expose us to any kind of emotional danger. So criticism from others, pushback about something we might want to do at work, when we're leaving the herd and we're perhaps speaking up, or where we're facing a failure, the unfamiliar or unknown. So when it's really about when we take on a challenge and we need a way of moving past that fear, that really different kind of fear. So instinctually, we have fear responses. The first you will have heard of, I'm sure, which is fight or flight. So that is exactly what it says. So either we stand and face it or we run a mile and avoid it. The next is tend or befriend. So tend is when we stay around to look after the young, and befriend is when we feel the instinctive need to share the circumstances that we've seen. So very often you'll find when something frightening has happened, the first thing someone will want to do is talk to a complete stranger who's nearby about it, or indeed contact friends or put it on Facebook, whatever the latest thing might be. And that is a response to their fear of what they've heard and not really knowing how to deal with it in their own minds. And then the following one is freeze and appease. So freeze being like in the animal world where they just stay completely still and hope that they'll be overlooked. And we sort of go into our shell and we're very quiet. And the appease is when we do whatever is asked of us to appease the person so that they kind of ignore us further and our danger moves away. So we usually develop our fear from our own past experiences of pain or danger. Now, there's no time limit on this. So very often we can't even remember our own fear. It could be something that happened to us as a child, very young child. It could be something that we experienced that we don't remember. But our bodies remember and our old brain remembers. And as soon as there are the same symptoms of danger around us, our fear is triggered. And then there is the danger or painful experience we've watched others go through. And as you look at how and when the fear arises for you, you can see historical roots of these fears either in your own past experience or history, or when you've observed it in others. So that's what creates your fear. And of course, the worse, the bigger the dangers and the worse you've seen others go through, the worse your fear will become. So we tend to feel fear as well when our egos feel threatened in some way. So we usually feel the fear because we're imagining the future outcome, or for many people, the fear comes with a physical tightness and constricted feeling. So we feel it in our bodies. Now, that other kind of fear, that year of fear, was the feeling overcomes us when we suddenly come into possession of more energy than we're used to having. You know, when you step out of your comfort zone and you're doing something exhilarating, something where you really feel like you're in a bigger space than you're used to. It's the kind of fear, but it has a quality of sort of awe or reverence about it. We often feel it when we're pursuing something exciting, but we're expressing ourselves creatively. So we're stepping onto stage, or we're singing in a choir, or when we're speaking up and we're speaking our truths for the first time. And It's really uncomfortable and it can be easily mistaken for regular old fear, causing us to want to avoid it. But it's actually quite a good feeling when we welcome it and we savor it and we breathe through it, knowing it means that we're really taking an important step. So that's why I differentiated. It's not about remembering what they're called, the year and passion. It's about remembering that they're kind of two different sides to the fear coin. And then one of the most powerful things we can do so that fear misleads us less is to become aware of how it functions in our lives. So this is kind of a reflection sheet to guide you into doing that. So if you've got a pen and paper handy, I'm sorry, I should have suggested you had one in the first place. Just want you to think about, and don't worry if you haven't got pen and paper, just have a think about it as we go through. When in your work or life do you experience the fear? The fear of projecting or imagining things of possible future outcomes. So it can really, really hold us back, but it's really good to recognize where in your life you're feeling this fear. And when you look at your work and your life separately, is there any kind of patterns to that? And then I would really encourage you to look at that further. What is it you're really scared of? In other words, what are the outcomes that you fear? So, imagine you don't want to go out tonight because it's dark outside. What are you worried about in the dark? And then what are you worried about that? And how likely is that to happen? And you may have noticed your imagination outcomes are much, much worse in your professional life and the fear of professional failure, almost because we can't bring ourselves back from it so easily. Even when worrying about the fear becomes a real fear of not being liked or a financial disaster. What tends to be your response or coping mechanism in these situations when you feel fear? Well, at the moment, the reason I focus on this topic is obviously there's a lot of fear in everybody's lives. We're frightened of people we love dying. We're frightened of losing our jobs. We're frightened of what might happen to the economy, about things that we were hoping to do, not being able to do anymore. There's so much fear. I wanted to put together some ways of dealing with it. So that's what we're going to look at next. And just notice with your own fear, what is your reaction? Is it the fight or flight, the freeze or appease, or the tend and befriend? Or is it some combination of those? What's it really about for you? Just exploring this can really give you ways of coping with the fear better. So we're going to give you 15 ways of dealing with fear. And before I share these, I have to give credit to Tara Moore. So I completed a Tara Moore Playing Big Facilitators course. And these 15 ways of dealing with fear are part of that course. So I would encourage you to buy the book Playing Big if you would like to learn more about this and other brilliant ways of helping you with strategize with your life. So the first are heart-based tools. So this is one, and tap into your inner mentor. So your inner mentor is your best self. If you haven't done any self-work or thought about connecting with your inner mentor, then this is the best part of you. And there on my website, there is a video that you can watch to help you connect to your inner mentor. And once you're connected with her, you can bring her your fears and see how she would respond. You can invite love in. So say a simple prayer or an intention. I invite love into this situation and I ask for help shifting out of fear and into love, or maybe the embodiment of love in the room. Now, for me, this is really about I have, when I think about love, I think of the color. So I think of pink. So I love pink. And so when I'm frightened, I imagine myself with a big pink fluffy blanket wrapped around me. And that will take me out of the fear situation. So I call it my invisible fear blanket. So get curious. In any situation where you feel afraid, ask yourself, what about this situation can I become authentically curious about, and let the curiosity lead you. So, if you're out walking, what can you see? What's around you? What can you hear? What can you distract yourself from the fear with just by getting curious? and then shifting into another state. So this is picking an energy which you can experiment with, playfulness or any other energy, so that when you're in the other energy, you are not connected with your fear. So this is really about what you focus on, you feel. So I did a course with Kane Ramsey, and in that he read me the most heartbreaking story for 5 minutes, and at the end of it, I was crying my eyes out. And then he kind of said, like, shake it off, shake it off. So you shook it off, and then he told you this amazing love story. And I was swooning at the end of it, and he was like, right, in the last 5 minutes, I've taken you from complete heartache to laughing. And this just shows you what emotion you focus on is the emotion you feel. So with that in mind, shift yourself to a state that you want to be in. So whether it be fun, playfulness, whatever it might be. And then reconnect to your desire to serve. So focus on the people or that you're hoping to impact. So that might be whatever job you do, that might be what you do in your spare time, that might be something that's really important to you. But if you focus on them instead of yourself, again, you will take yourself out of that fear. And talk with your younger self. Ask yourself, how old does this afraid part of myself feel? Now, I really struggled with this, but I've just done a course with positive intelligence where we had to relate to a picture of our 5-year-old self. And if you imagine picturing yourself at 5 and having a dialogue with yourself, listening to her concerns and giving her the reassurance she needs, it is amazing how reassuring that feels to you as a grown-up, because that 5-year-old self is still a part of you. So it's a really good exercise. And then we have the cognitive tools. So this is, the first is label it. When you notice you're feeling afraid, label the feeling. I'm feeling afraid. What am I afraid about right now? Speak the words or think them silently to yourself if somebody's around, and listen, or write them down. And then you can examine them. So analyze the truth, the possibility, or the probability. Look at what you fear and ask, how likely is it that what I fear will actually occur? Do I have any evidence it will occur? And then come back to the present moment. When you feel afraid about a potential future outcome, turn your attention to what is actually happening right now and ask yourself, is there really any problem right now? For you in this moment, is there any problem right now? And then follow the fear to the end game. Ask yourself, if the bad outcome that I fear came to pass, then what? What would I do? And then what would I do? So really use your brain to analyze the fear. Don't just, what we're really saying is, don't just trust the first thought that comes into your head, because actually it doesn't always tell you the truth. Just explore it a little bit further. And then the somatic tools, so the tools that you use your body to deal with it. So the first is to breathe. So place one hand on your abdomen and inhale through your nose, breathing into your belly. And then feel your belly expand outwards and exhale through pursed lips. So as if you were whistling or spinning the thread with your lips. And feel your belly contract outwards. Take it slow and do this for several breaths. Do a physical relaxation. Slowly scan your attention across your body, beginning with your feet and moving your attention upwards. Spend a couple of breaths on each body part and imagine any tension just leaving your body, or imagine sending your breath to that part of your body just to relax it and release the tension. Visualizing something calm and concentrating on that calming image. Can be an image of loved ones, beautiful objects, serene landscape. What really works for me is, you know, when you were a kid and you used to like skim the pebbles into the water and watch the rings move outwards. That really works well for me as visualization. When I want to calm myself, it's just watching all the water just ripple outwards until it comes like a calm lake. You can use music, so put on some music that's calming or comforting to you and ask yourself, what if I approach this situation that I fear in the mood, attitude of this song? So if it's an upbeat, go for it song, What if you approach your fear from that approach? And if it's a calm and mellow song, what about if you approach your fear from there? It will just change your perspective. And then obviously you want to move through your fear and become utterly present to your fear. By breathing and exploring the fear, you allow yourself to pass through it. And as I said, you've got the audio meditation that will guide you through the process of meeting your inner mentor on my website if you want to have a look. It's free. So I hope that helps you think about how you can deal with your fear, how you can stop fear from holding you back. My mission is to shine the light on how we deal with our emotions to help you move past the challenges you have, the beliefs, the fears, and the challenges that hold you back, so we can live in a more fulfilled life and so you can follow your dreams. So if you want to get in touch with me to discuss it further, you can reach me at Kaidi, which is KAIDI synergize@gmail.com. And if you're not ready for coaching or for joining one of my workshops yet, that's okay too. Get in touch anyway. Subscribe to my newsletter and to receive any offers. And maybe 6 months, a year down the line, we might work together, and maybe we won't, but it will be great to be connected. Okay, take care and thanks for watching.